Hi guys, welcome back to channel. We live in the world where everyone talking about these things called automation. So automation is just like that hotcake, guys. So today we're going to understand these things called how I can start my career into these things called RPA Power Automate, and how to get started with these things called Power Automate desktop tool. We are going to understand today. Okay. So first of all, guys, we know that what is RPA, that is called robotic process automation. That is the things called automate the business process by robot, that is called RPA. We know that. Okay. So in RPA, we are going to understand these things called what is Power Automate desktop tool. We are going to understand these things today. So Power Automate desktop tool is same like that UiPath or Blueprint or Automation Anywhere. That is same desktop tool. That is the same attended tool, attended bot. So there we can go for create these things called development. We can go for create these things called development. Like that, all the exception ending, all these things we can go for into the Power Automate. Okay, so Power Automate desktop is this things called free tool for beginners people. That is free codeless tool from the Microsoft that allows users to automate the any type of repetitive task and process on their Windows desktop, enabling robotic process automation RPA without requiring any coding language knowledge. Okay, so the best part in this things called Power Automate, here coding is not required. If you go for UiPath, you have to learn these things called syntax of the .NET. You have to go for these things called learning all this part. Okay, so what is the syntax required for the any particular Excel? If you are going to create these things called loop, the syntax required for that. But if you come to Power Automate, here coding is not required at all. Okay, so that is the Power Automate is totally drag and drop tool. That is totally codeless tool. That is low code no code tool. That is we are going to learn right now. Okay. It's enable user to create the automated workflows for desktop as well as web application and web application, allowing them to interact with the applications, extracting the data and perform action based on specific rules. Okay, so whatever the task we are getting that from the client, we can automate all these things like web-based desktop, Excel, PDF, email, SAP. Okay, any type of Citrix application also we can automate using these things called RPA Power Automate desktop tool. But again, next question like that, how I can start these things, how to get started with these things called Power Automate. If I don't know how I can go for start these things called into Power Automate. Okay, first of all, guys, you have to create the particular email ID. Okay, so you have to create these things called, you have to register on this things called Microsoft account, and you have to go for these things called create the particular email ID, and you can go for these things called log into these things called the page. Okay, let me show you this things called. So first of all, you have to go for this things called make.powerautomate.com, and you have to log into the particular URL. Okay, so there you can, if you go for these things called, here already I have done this things called login. Try to create the particular email ID and try to go for this thing, login to the particular website. Okay, so when you come to this things called portal, we are getting this things called home button. So here I am getting this things called home button. We get your name, hello, and create a flow to automate a repetitive task, business task end to end. Okay, so it's saying this things called, try to click on this things called create. When you click on this things called create, it will come on this particular window. So if you click on this things called create, we are getting this things called automated cloud flow, instant cloud flow, scheduled cloud flow, desktop flow. We know that automated cloud flow, that is we are getting this kind of notification that is triggered by destination your event. Okay, so whatever the particular like that, if you are getting these things called any email. Okay, so if you are getting these things called any email, so any type of notification, that type of process, that will automate using these things called automated cloud flow. Okay, so here we'll go for this things called automated cloud flow. If you go for this things called instant cloud flow, suppose you want to go for automate any type of particular program using these things for cloud, that you can go for instant cloud flow. Scheduled cloud flow, that is same like the trigger, means whatever the process you want to go for automate, there we'll go for this things called scheduled cloud flow. And here we are getting this things called desktop cloud flow. Okay, so if you want to automate using this things called desktop flow, you have to go for this things called, click on this things called desktop. And when you go for this things called desktop, if you already have particular tool, if you have a particular software, we can go for click on this things called launch the particular app. If you don't have particular app, you can go for this things called download the app. If you click on this things called download app, it will go for this things called, try to go for download this particular software. Here you can go for click and save the particular software. Already we have downloaded, so I can try to show these things called how we can go for launch. And especially if you want to go for check this things called video, how to download the particular Power Automate, already I have created the particular video on this things called YouTube. So I will share in this things called in description box. You can check this particular video from this things called description. So how to go for download the particular software and try to install these things. Okay, so already I've installed. So let me go for these things called open the Power Automate. Okay, so guys, here already I've installed, and here I'm getting this things called icon, that is called Power Automate. Okay, so you can click on this things called Power Automate Desktop. So if you come on this particular page, please understand guys, if you come on this particular page, so here I'm getting this things called lots of option, that is called home, that is called flow, that is called examples. Okay, so here first of all, if you click on this things called home, you will get this things called all the particular this things called, I'm getting this things called welcome to Power Automate and your particular email ID, like it Naveen RPA Power Automate @outlook.com. Same like that you have to create also this particular email ID. Okay, so Outlook account you have to create. After that, I'm getting on the top, you can see it now, that is called new. So either you can click on this things called new, or either you can go for this things called flows. What is the difference? So new is this things called for creating the new particular project, and if you have already particular project like that April basic program, March A, whatever the particular project, if you want to open, you can click on this things called edit button and you can go for start the development. Okay, I want to go for create this things called new program. So what I will go for that, we'll click on this things called new, and here I'm getting this things called flow. Okay, so I'll click on this things called flow. Okay, flow, what I can give this name, so any name, let me go for this things called okay. So if you want to give this things called name, you can provide your name. Right now we are going to create this things called my first program. Okay, so if you are going to start, right, let me go for this things called, click on this things called create button. Okay, so you have to go for install the particular Power Automate desktop tool, and you have to go for this things called my first program we are going to create. Let me go for click on this things called create button. It will take hardly 30 seconds to make ready each and everything. Like that we are getting this things called action. All these things will get proper, getting this ready. It will take 30 seconds of time and make ready. It's already ready. Right now we are going to start the development. So guys, we'll understand each and everything one by one. On the top you can see it now ribbon, that on the top you're getting this things called file, that is especially for this things called saving these things. If you want to go for debug, so you can go for this things called, click on this things called debug. You can go for run next action, stop, all these things, toggle breakpoint you can also create. We are getting this things called record, we are getting this things called tools using recording function. We can record all these things. We can go for browser extension and inspect the UI elements. If you want to go for automate the particular any type of, if you want to go for spy any type of desktop application, any type of web-based application, so you can go for inspect the UI elements. Let me come to this things called browser extension. So guys, here if you come to this things called your tools, okay, I'm getting this things called browser extension. Please understand guys, whenever you're going to install the particular software that is called Microsoft Power Automate, try to install the particular extension. Like we have a Google Chrome, we have a Edge, we have a Firefox. Try to install the particular extension. How you'll get these things called extension and how to enable all the extension, already I have explained in the one particular video for how to go for download the software. Okay, in my system, if you want to check, so if you go for these things called Google Chrome, Edge, all these things, on top you can see right now I'm getting this things called Edge, that is the particular extension guys. Already I've already installed this things called UiPath. So if you click on this things called extension, we'll get all this about details. You will go for this things called Microsoft Power Automate, and you can go for enable all these things. Okay, so try to go for enable all the particular your edit option. Try to go for enable all the Microsoft. Okay, if you go for this things called Edge also, so if you go for this things called power extension, you can see right now already I have installed this things called Microsoft Power Automate. Like this way you have to also install, same like the UiPath, you have to go for install the Microsoft Power Automate. Okay, so that is the guys where you can go for this things called desktop tool. We can go for, you have to check all these things, it's perfect or not in your system. And here you can go for this things called view, all this like the variables, UI elements, image, all these things will get. And if you want to check this things called your particular versions, so there is a help option. You can go for this things called about, I am getting this things called 2.54, that is my current version, 2.54.188.25.0066. okay, so that is the current version of this things called Power Automate we are using right now. And like this way we are getting all the ribbon details. Okay, let me come to this things called left side. I'm getting this things called actions guys. So all these actions, if you go for this things called actions, what is action? Action is nothing but whatever the application you're going to automate. Okay, so if you want to automate this things called web-based application, you want to automate the Google Chrome. So if you want to go for automate any type of application, any type of web browser, so using these things called help of the actions, we are able to automate. Okay, so action is nothing but whatever the application you want to automate, using this particular actions we can go for automate. Okay, so that is the mediator between your development and this particular place. Okay, so using these actions we are able to automate. Suppose you want to automate this things called Google Chrome. Okay, so we can go for this things called launch new Chrome. We are getting these things called launch new Chrome, and using this particular place we can go for drag and drop tool. Okay, so this is the particular guys actions. So if you go for ask this question, we have more than 300 particular actions, more than 300 like that. We have, if you want to go for this things called browser extension, browser automation, we are getting this things called multiple particular browsers automation actions. We are getting these things called for extracting data, we have data scraping. If you want to go for extract the web page, we are getting these things called extract data from this things called web page. We are getting these things called details of the web page. If you want to go for get text, same like the UI path, we are getting these things called get details of your element. So using this particular actions, we are able to automate any type of web-based application. We can extract the data from the web-based application. Okay, so all this particular web-based your particular actions we have available like that: launch new Chrome, Firefox, Mozilla Firefox. If you want to go for new tab, new particular create new tab, we can go for all these things one by one. Okay, so for particular Excel activity, Excel actions, we are getting these things called whole Excel actions we are getting here. For Word, each and everything we are getting the proper Word. If you want to go for database, we have 3 particular action is there. Using we can go for create these things called database, we can take from here, and we can go for automate any type of database. Okay, same like that we have a date time. If you want to go for these things called PDF, we are getting these things called all the PDF particular actions is there. We can go for automate. And here if you want to go for these things called system related things. Okay, let me go for show these things. If you want to go for these things called shut down your laptop event. Okay, so that type of actions already available in these things called in Power Automate. Okay, so let me show you. If you go for these things called workstation, we are getting these things called shut down your computer. Okay, so all this particular actions available in this particular place, that is in the workstation. So we are getting these things called all the particular actions into the this particular place. Okay, so like this way we can go for automate any type of actions. We can take all the actions and we can go for it. Okay, so that is the left side guys, that is called actions, and the top we are getting these things called subflows and main. Please understand, by default I'm getting these things called first program, that is called main, and apart from that we are getting these things called subflows. Using this particular your particular flow, we can go for create any type of particular program. And if you want to create the new flow, here I'm getting the option that is called click on this particular place, and here I can go for this things called new subflow. So by default I'm getting this things called subflow 1. So by default guys, we are getting these things called subflow 1. Okay, so already like that same like that UI path, we are getting these things called Power Automate also subflows 1. When you create these things called save, and when you try to go for create the new subflow, again the same thing, we are getting these things called subflow 2. Like this way we can go for create the all the particular flow. Okay, so that is, it's called flowing these things called Microsoft. Okay, so like this way we can create n number of flows and we can go for run the particular program. Right side I'm getting these things called guys variables. Okay, so what is variables? Variables is nothing but whatever the data you want to store. Okay, data may be that is called string, data may be called integer, data may be called your decimal value, data may be called your Excel sheet, that is the format of table, data may be that is the SQL, like that SQL server data. Okay, that is the database connections. Okay, so any type of data we can create for storing data, that is called guys variables. Using variables we can store the data. If you want to create here there is a plus sign. So by default we don't have any variables. Why? Because we have not created any type of program. By default, that is we are getting these things called no variables to display. But for any particular actions, if you want to go for create, you can go for click plus sign. I'm getting these things called input variable. Here by default you can see right now I'm getting these things called new input, that is my variable name. Okay, variable type I'm getting these things, that is called text guys. So by default if you go for these things called text, add a text value, so I can create these things called Power Automate. Okay, if you want to change to these things called text to number, so here I'm getting these things called 0, I'm getting these things called 1, I'm getting these things called 2. So by the way we can create these things called n number of number, we can go for pass. Again if you go for these things called boolean, you know that boolean means true false, so here we can create these things called true false number, we can go for that and we can create. Okay, if you want to go for these things called list, so that will be into curly braces. So using the particular syntax we can create, and apart from that you can go for these things called data table, that is the format of these things called 0, like that row and columns, that is the data table, that is called Excel sheet. Okay, so like this way we can go for create this type of particular variable and we can keep here. Okay, suppose I want to go for this things called new particular variable as a text. Okay, so I'm going to pass this things called Power Automate is one of the best RPA tool in market. Okay, so here that is these things called I want to create. So here I'm going to pass this things called Microsoft Power Automate. Okay, so here like this way we can go for create. Here I'm getting the option that is called save, so we can create these things, save. So you can see right now, first that is this things called for one particular your actions we create this things called new input, that is for one particular place we have created. Okay, so here like this way we can go for create, and here you can go for this things called filter. One by one we'll go for learn these things. Right side I'm getting this things called that is the your icons of variables, that is this things called UI elements, and this is the particular this things called image. Okay, so whatever the elements you're going to recognize, whatever the these things you are going to spy, so automatically all these things will get into this particular place, and there we can go for change all these things one by one. Okay, and here I'm getting these things called your particular so guys, we are getting these things called variables. You can search the particular variables. Here you can go for search the variables, and here we are getting these things called filter option. Using this things called filter option, we can go for filter your all the variables. Okay, so let me go for this things called one program, so we can get all the particular variables. So what I have to go for that, I'm getting this things called subflow one. So here I can go for take this particular one actions, that is called display message. Okay, so display message box is especially for displaying the data on the console. We can go for take this things called display message, and here I can go for this things called create this things called message box title. Okay, so I'm going to pass this things called message box, that is the things message box, and here message what you want to display. I want to display these things called MS Power Automate is one of the best RPA tool in market. Okay, so we can go for create like this way. Okay, and here you can go for click on save. So when you create the particular display message your actions, automatically you can see right now here it's created one particular variable, that name is called button pressed. Okay, so by default you can see right now I am getting these things called variables produced, that is called button pressed. Okay, so by default you can see right now I'm getting this thing called save, I'm getting this thing called button pressed, that is my variable. If you click on this things called filter, I'm getting this things called text value. What I'm getting right now, that is called text value, guys. Okay, so here I'm getting this things called by default value, and if you want to change to this things called a, suppose you want to go for create the variable as a, I want to change this things called the particular variable, I want to go for this things called rename this particular variable, I can go for this things called a, I can go for click on this things called save button. So what I'm getting right now, that is the a variable, guys. Okay, that is the a variable, guys. Okay, here I want to go for create this things called multiple variable. Suppose I want to go for this things called launch Excel. Okay, so what we can go for that, we can go for drag and drop, and here by default I'm getting this things called Excel instance. Okay, so here automatically it will come as a Excel instance. If you go for filter the particular variables, here automatically I'm getting these things called text value and Excel instance. If you want to go for filter, we can click on this things called this particular filter, and automatically I'm getting this things called only one variable, that name is called Excel instance. The same thing if you go for this things called SQL. Let me show you, guys. So if you go for take this things called open SQL. Okay, so by default it's creating this things called SQL connection. So what it will do, it will go for this things called SQL connections. By default I'm getting this things called particular variable. If you go for this things called filter, okay, if you go for this things called filter, we can go for click on this things called this particular place, and here I'm going to filter this particular things. I'm getting this things called SQL connections. I'm getting this things called SQL connection. Okay, so like this way we can create your variables, and you can go for this things called. So guys, like this way we can create n number of variables, and automatically all the variables it will come here. Suppose you want to go for this things called PDF. Okay, so PDF, if you go for this things called extract table from this things called PDF, let me go for show only. So I'm going to pass anything. Let me go for save. Okay, so by default you can see right now extract PDF text, and that is the type of text. Okay, so let me go for text. What I'm getting right now, that is the a variable, and that is this things called, we are getting this things called extract PDF text. Okay, so by default we are getting this things called two particular variable, that is specially into this things called string variable, and it's showing right now. So like this way we can create n number of particular programs, and we can go for create n number of your variables, and like this way we are getting right now. Okay, here if you want to go for this things called, if you want to go for this thing called run any type of particular flow, like that we can go for this things called run subflow. So let me go for take this things called run subflow, and here I'm taking this things called subflow through main. We'll try to go for run, so we'll go for this things called main, and in main I will take this things called run subflow. So I'll go for this things called subflow 1. Okay, so here let me go for delete all these things not required. Let me go for this things called main. We'll try to go for control S for save the particular program, and we'll try to go for this things called run the particular program. So how we can go for this things called main? Directly you can click on this things called button. We are getting this things called run button, and we can go for click the particular program. Okay, so what I'm getting right now, that is the Microsoft Automate. It's the one of the best RP tool in the market, and it's working perfect. Okay, so like this way we can connect any type of particular program using main, using the activity that is called run subflow. Okay, so guys, this like this way we can go for automate anything into Power Automate, and this is the journey to start the career into this things called Power Automate. We can go for download this particular software and try to start this things called automation into Power Automate, and let's try to go for learn together and start the learning, the development and training from today onwards, and try to start the career in the Power Automate, and try to keep your Power Automate journey into your resume, and go for this things called industry. Okay, so guys, let me go for this things called if you want to go for this things called another program, we can go for create this things called subflow, and we can go for n number program we can create here. Okay, so guys, thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching this video. So guys, thank you. Thank you guys.